start with the game of the weekend. The Lions hosting the Vikings on Sunday night with the winner locking up the top seed in the NFC. Detroit's head coach Dan Campbell spoke about the stakes earlier today.
This is why you're in this business. Players love it, coaches love it. Great for their organization, and it's great for football. If it's shock and awe, and it's the crowd, and it's the media attention, and it's the record of the opponent, division game, all on the line, if you're not used to that, it can be a little overwhelming. It can be overwhelming for some players and teams, and so we've been in that, and I think, I think we embrace that.
Well, the Lions' offense has been virtually unstoppable this season, averaging the most points per game in the NFL. And they've scored 40 points no less than 6 times. That's tied for the most in a season in NFL history. With that Vikings defense, they have been very good, ranking first in touchdown to turnover ratio and defensive efficiency. However, if you'll recall, they weren't able to slow down Detroit in that first meeting. They allowed 31 points, and it was a 2-point loss back in Week 7. All right, RC, what's the key to this strength versus strength matchup when the Lions have the ball?
Yeah, it was Jared Goff to me, and the way that he handled pressure the first time against the Minnesota Vikings. If you can understand where the pressure is going to come from, there will be some voided zones in the back of that too high safety sort of amoeba blitz pressure that they do. And then now you think about the way that he handled pressure not only, and then the way he worked in between the numbers, making sure he found the exact spot to whether that's find Amon-Ra St. Brown or some of his receivers working inside the numbers. If we could get that same Jared Goff, that same patience from Ben Johnson and understanding up front at the offensive line level of where the pressure will come, they can have that same sort of success again, and they are going to need to with the way this defense has been hobbled down the stretch.
Yeah, Ryan, Jared Goff went 11 for 12 for 168 yards on inbreakers the last time these teams played. Digs, posts, crossers. To your point, he had such a good understanding of how Brian Flores' defense worked. And I actually go back to that game. Whenever we talk about the Vikings defense and how challenging they are, I say the Lions put on tape exactly how you have to attack this unit. So I'm actually more curious to see what Brian Flores does to mix it up. Because as Ryan spelled out, Jared was so good at identifying the voids in those zone blitzes. Does he lean more on the 4-man rush with Jonathan Grenard? Do they play a little bit more man coverage, which they've been doing in recent weeks? He's one of the more creative and adaptive play callers in football, and I'm very interested in seeing if he makes some changes because the last time Detroit got the better of his defense.
The literal definition of don't go third or fourth on this damn show. This is the literal definition of it. But also, to y'all point, man, you focus on, one, the explosive plays, because I do believe that Sam Darnold is a better player, and I think he's going to challenge, obviously, with these injuries of what Detroit has defensively. There will be more onus on explosives in this game, especially in what you and RC talked about, MK, when you have those opportunities for those one-on-ones, especially on the outside now with Jamison Williams stepping up, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then how creative Ben Johnson gets as well offensively to try to create some of that. And then, too, y'all, I think a big part of this game is going to come down to the red area, the red zone, defensively or offensively, and who can be that guy? Will it be Tim Patrick? Will it be Hawkinson? How will that part of the game play out? Because I do believe both of these offenses can get what they can get against anybody in the league. It's about finishing these drives, to me, which is going to be the most important as we move forward. So those explosive plays for Detroit, when they do get that pressure, will they be home runs for touchdowns, or will they get you into the red area where everything condenses and now you got to be creative like Ben Johnson has been able to do all season long?
Mina, I love what you said about Brian Flores mixing it up. When I went back and watched the tape of the Green Bay Packers, I was impressed with how sticky they were in man, and also a lot of times bringing that fifth rusher, believing that they could play one-on-one on the back end, obviously without Christian Watson. So I wonder how much of that we'll see this week from Brian Flores to mix it up for what they did the first time against Jared Goff.